Thanks very much, Chair, and sorry for getting in the way of a really good debate. Unfortunately, I have a funeral to get to, so otherwise I would have put my hand up and say, keep going. Okay, really appreciate the time that you sacrificed for that debate, for a bit of time with GRDC. I've been in this job for 1 year and 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, this time last year, I spoke to the Grains Council of New South Wales farmers about where GRDC is going forward. What I'd like to do is to update people about where we've got to, and also about where we're going, and very briefly. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about here is about the change process, or the evolution of GRDC that's been, I guess, started a little over 18 months ago. And what are the drivers of that change process that GRDC has been going through? What's the overview also of that change? Where have we got to and where we're going next? And introduce you to our new 5-year strategic planning process, and invite you to very much have this opportunity to have an input into what is a really defining moment in the grains R&D environment going forward. So the drivers for why is GRDC really going through a real speed evolution process at the moment. And we've seen incredibly rapid rates of change in our industry, not just in the grains industry, and I understand about 50% of you in this room are from the grains industry, but we've seen incredibly fast rates of change in technology that people like Tony May have been speaking about, market changes, climate, obviously, consolidation of farms, globalisation. But from a research environment perspective, the onus on us has never been greater, and one of the reasons for that is that you go back 5-6 years ago, and 35% of the total investment in grains R&D was through GRDC. It's now 60% as a result of decline in state government investment and university. Thankfully, here in New South Wales DPI have put a halt to that, with the government support have put a halt to that decline, but nationally that rate of decline is still alarming and a concern for us going forward. So the onus on us to be able to deliver value to you has never ever been greater. The consolidation of farming has seen people looking at how much they're paying in terms of their levies and are asking, where's my value proposition for that investment in it? Recently, talking to a corporate farmer was paying, I think last year, paid $600,000 in levies to GRDC. What am I getting for that dollar investment? One of the things that I learnt in my early phases of in this role, talking to the industry, talking to boards and internal and external, was that I truly believe that the organisation lacked the clarity of purpose. It really had, to some extent, had lost focus on what was most important. And so we needed to go back, I believed, and redefine what the purpose of the organisation was. And we needed to improve, in particular, our transparency and responsiveness. So our transparency in what we're investing in and what the return on that investment is to you as grain growers. Oops, sorry. So when it came to clarity of process, we went through a process within the board and senior management of the organisation, and came up with this statement that our purpose going forward is to invest in research, development and extension to create enduring profitability for Australian grain growers. Now, this statement essentially will be driving the culture, the attitude, and most importantly, the investment strategy for the organisation going forward. Now, it seems a bit nebulous, that statement, but it is key. There's some key components to it. The word invest is a really important one. Before we saw ourselves as a funder or a grantor, it's truly now going to be all about invest, and it's about your return on investment. It's about RD&E, and that's constrained by the Act which we worked under, the PERD Act. And the word create is deliberate in here. It's about innovation, and we've tended to focus on incremental and, I guess, pushing from the bottom rather than pulling from the top. So the feedback we've had from growers is that we would like your GRDC to invest in higher risk, to deliver more transformational gains. So pull from the top rather than push from the bottom. And the other word critical in this, where we're going forward, is the word profitability. There is no doubt that as an organisation that we've invested in almost exclusively, there are some variations on this, almost exclusively on productivity. The focus is unashamedly going to be on profitability going forward. So where we're going to be looking for is where the leverage points in the whole supply chain, from one end to the other, about where we can drive through RD&E the greatest profitability. So whether that's policy that advises, investment in research and development that advises policy that affects market access to logistics to whatever, if it's an R&D and it can affect profitability, we will look hard at that going forward. So just to very quickly, we talked about revised purpose is where we've got to. New management, of the management, executive management of GRDC, there were 6 people. 4 of those have changed over. We have a new chair, John Woods, from just south of the border into New South Wales in Gundawindi, who believes emphatically on that purpose and is driven to deliver that value. And we have a new board, a big turnover in board happening right now. We have new business groups and new structures and new operating systems. We invested in the order of a bit over $3 million in better driving the whole efficiencies of that investment process, so that, 1, it's more cost effective, but 2, it's also more transparent, so that we can look back and go, what have we invested in the past, what have we learned from it, make sure we don't repeat, make sure we're always pushing the envelope from an innovation and creativity point of view. We're building our strength in our regional offices. Go back 3 years ago, we were a Canberra-based organisation. Now we have offices in Toowoomba, a satellite operation in Dubbo. We're looking at putting people into Wagga. We're also we're in Adelaide and looking at the Wimmera area, or we're over in Western Australia. So we're going to rebalance that and invest more resources in regional delivery. We're moving MVT is something that's really valuable to grain growers, and it's been something that we've outsourced, and we believe that we haven't been able to capture the value of this really, really powerful, internationally best practice, largest scheme of its kind anywhere in the world, and we haven't captured the benefit in it, bringing it in-house and building on it going forward. And I talked about building capacity. We're really, if you look at the RDCs, I think for $1 per person per the dollars that we manage, we're about 30% of any other R&D agency. We are running really, really thin and haven't got the people on the ground that can drive the investment decisions. So we need to adjust that a little bit so that we can ensure really good return on investment for that. And that's through regional presence as well. So, finally, and a new strategic R&D plan. That's the last slide. Okay, so we're just about to start into a new phase. We've really redesigned the structure of the business and the operations of the business. Now it's about how we're going to deliver and what R&D we're doing. And this is where we need your input. We need your opportunity over the next 2 to 3 months is to have an input into this process. But to give you a bit of a heads up about where it's heading, it's going to be unashamedly about grower profit. So it'll be RD&E opportunities that are clearly drive profitability of Australian grain growers. Where we'll be focusing, as I alluded to before, on more transformational, high impact, bigger returns instead of incremental. Pull from the top rather than push from the bottom. We'll have greater focus on higher value. So looking for how can Australia grow its value proposition globally? Where can we get a bigger bang for your dollar globally? And that might mean investing in things that extract higher prices, things that you can get a better return on investment on, and trying to shift that in that direction. That doesn't mean we give up on the bulk commodities or the lower price commodities. It just means a shifting of emphasis. And one last thing is that look, with that portfolio, that profitability portfolio, the range of options, if we're going to be moving and driving profitability for you going forward, we can't just stick to just working with state government departments and universities in Australia. We have to go broader than that. We have to go international. Just recently we've invested in or joined partnerships with Bayer in a $45 million investment to bring better herbicides for difficult to control weeds in Australia. We need to partner with just broader than that. We need to look at the engineering, telecommunications. You know, tomorrow you're talking about connectivity, for example. Where is it that the RD&E community can play in that to add value? Food and beverage industry, logistics, trades and marketing. Where can your dollar investment give you the bigger bang for your buck in terms of profitability? Okay, so in the next two or 3 months, we'll be going out and talking about the next 5-year R&D plan and asking for feedback and input. If you've got ideas that are RD&E that you think can make a big impact, please let us know. Let's get on it and help each other out. Great, thanks very much.